Imagine living in Japan, not just as a student, not as a worker tied to one company, but with complete freedom. No more visa renewals, no restrictions on jobs, and a permanent place to call home in one of the safest and most advanced countries in the world. That's what Japan's Permanent Residency program offers. In this video, we will explore how you can qualify, how long it really takes, and the hidden advantages that makes permanent residency far more valuable than you might think. Whether you are already in Japan or planning to move there someday, this is your roadmap to becoming a true long-term resident of Japan. Japan Permanent Residence is a status given by the Immigration Services Agency of Japan called ISA, which allows a foreign national to reside in Japan indefinitely without having to renew or change a visa or residence status each time. So the agenda of this video includes Japan Permanent Residency, what are its key features, the eligibility requirements, the application procedure, benefits of permanent residence in Japan, potential risks or considerations, special cases and exceptions, what to prepare checklist, tips and best practices, and last but not the least, things to watch or the pitfalls. Japan PR key features. You gain the status of permanent resident on your residence card. You are generally free to work in Japan without being restricted to a specific work visa category. You still must respect certain obligations such as tax, address registration, re-entry permit rules if you leave Japan for long periods, etc. It does not, however, give you Japanese citizenship. It is a resident status, not nationality. Then we come to eligibility requirements. The eligibility requirements for Japan PR may be divided into several categories. These are general requirements, residence duration requirement, income, livelihood, financial stability, visa status requirements, special case, high skilled professionals or the point system, and additional considerations. So first let's see what are the general requirements. Good conduct or legal compliance. No serious criminal record, obeying laws, paying taxes, residence tax, health insurance, pension contributions, and so on. That means all the all these obligations should be met duly. Ability to support yourself or having a stable livelihood. Income or asset base sufficient so you won't become a burden on the public assistance. Residence status and duration. Generally holding a valid residence status and having lived in Japan for a certain number of years. Permanent residence must be in the interest of Japan. The ISA must determine that granting you PR is reasonable and beneficial. That means the permanent residence should not be only because of your own advantage. It should be it should have some kind of advantage to Japan as well. The next is residence duration requirement. Standard rule, at least 10 years of continuous residence in Japan, of which at least 5 years under work-related status or other eligible status is often indicated. Exceptions or shorter-term eligibility for certain categories. For the spouse of a Japanese national or permanent resident, shorter terms, for example, nearly 3 years may apply. For long-term residents, often 5 years residence may suffice. Now, what is a long-term resident? Who is a long-term resident? These may include spouses and children of Japanese nationals, descendants of Japanese nationals, refugees or humanitarian cases, and children of mixed nationality families. So these all constitute the long-term residents. Then there is the highly skilled foreign professionals HSFP route, which is a point-based system. So this is the most important and the most favored route so as to get the permanent residency very quickly. You may even get within 1 year of residence, after 1 year of residence. So highly skilled foreign professionals HSFP route, which is a 80 point based system. If you have 70 points or more, you may apply after 3 years of residence. And if you have 80 points or more, you may apply after only 1 year of residence. Friends, we will have a detailed video coming up on this scheme, highly skilled foreign nationals, foreign professionals HSFP route, which is a point-based system. In the next video, we will be discussing uh, in detail, but for now I can tell you that how this point system works, the 80 point system. If you have a PhD degree, you get 30 points. If you have a master degree, then probably 20 points and so on. If you have 10 plus years of experience in work, you get 20 points. If your annual income is more than 10 million yen, you get again 40 points. If your age is below 30, you get 15 points. If you have a JLPT N1 certificate, you get 15 points. If you have done your education in a Japanese university, you get additional 10 to 15 points, and like that. So we will look at the very specific details of this point-based system in our next video. Let's move ahead in this video now. Next eligibility category is income, livelihood, and financial stability. While there is no single fixed income number published for all cases, guides indicate approximate thresholds and expectations. Applicants are expected to show stable income over several years and tax payment history. For example, one source says an annual income of about 3 million yen to 4 million yen, which is approximately 20,000 to 27,000 US dollars for a single person with higher income needed if supporting dependents. That means you must have an annual income of this amount if you are applying for a single person for the permanent residentship. So if your income is, for example, suppose 2 million yen per year, then you may not be, your application may get disqualified. Although there is no such fixed figure mentioned on the application guidelines, but this is roughly the case which is available from a survey. If you have dependents, income expectations rise. Next is visa status requirements. You must currently hold a resident status that is valid for 3 years or more for many cases at the time of application. Short-term visas like tourist or student normally don't qualify for PR eligibility accumulation. That means you must have a work visa or an LTR visa. Now, highly skilled professionals, the point system, HSFP. For those classified under HSFP, there is a fast track route as I mentioned earlier. You must have a point based score based on criteria like educational background, professional experience, income, Japanese language ability, etc. Which we just talked about. And as I mentioned, we will talk it in at length in our next video. If you have 70 plus points and have maintained them for 3 years, you may apply for PR after 3 years. If you have 80 plus points and maintain them, you may apply after just 1 year. Additional considerations for eligibility. Even if you meet minimal criteria, PR is not automatically granted. The IESA conducts a holistic review. Now, what does that mean? So you cannot argue with them. You cannot argue with ISA that since you have met all the minimum eligibility conditions, so you must be provided a PR. So that is not going to happen. So they review each application case by case, and only if your application interests them, then only your application gets selected. Absences from Japan may affect your continuous residence count or your living in Japan impression. Your guarantor may be required, typically a Japanese national or a PR holder who knows you well. That means this is kind of recommendation or reference which is needed. So next comes the application procedure. Japan PR application procedure. The first step is to prepare documents. The documents include the application form, the letter of intent, proof of residence card, passport, tax certificates, income statements, pension or insurance records, guarantor documents, and some additional documents which the agency may ask you to submit. Then the next step is to submit the application. Once you have filled all those application forms, which you will receive from your local uh, agency, you have to submit the application at the Regional Immigration Services Bureau in the prefecture where you reside. So this is the office where you need to go to inquire about the application form, and also you will submit the filled up application form at this place, Regional Immigration Services Bureau. So you have to locate that office in the prefecture you are living in. Pay the fee. So how much fee is required for Japan PR application? So one guide says it is 8,000 yen as revenue stamp. So you may expect that the fees that you need to provide will be something around 10,000 yen to 15,000 yen. So recently some references have been found where the fees have been stated as 15,000 yen. So that could be a decent amount to for having some kind of estimation. So 15,000 yen for the PR application fee. Wait for processing. Processing time varies. Some reports suggest 4 months, in some cases up to 12 months or more. So average it is around 7 to 8 months if your documents are all good and your qualifications, experiences, everything is super excellent, then it may be quick also. Otherwise, it may take long. After approval, you receive a new residence card marked permanent resident. If you already hold a residence card, you exchange it. And then you maintain the status. Renew the residence card every 7 years for adults, even as PR. So even after getting PR, you have to renew the residence card every 7 years. For stays abroad, ensure you have re-entry permit if away for over 1 year. Otherwise, there might be problem re-entering into Japan. So three things we have discussed. The fourth one is the benefits. What are the benefits of permanent residence in Japan? Freedom in work. You are no longer tied to a specific employer or visa category as much. Stability. You don't need to renew your work visa as frequently, less uncertainty. So you now have a solid foundation under your foot, and you can do any kind of job or business in Japan. Improved access to housing loans, credit, etc., since your status is more secure. You may sponsor dependents more easily now. Potential risks or considerations. PR status can still be revoked under certain conditions. For example, absence from Japan for too long without re-entry permit, serious crime, or tax fraud. So this thing is very important. Uh, if not crimes or frauds, if you leave Japan, like for example, if you are your home country was earlier in India, so you go to India from Japan and stay there for long without re-entry permit, then your PR status may be revoked in Japan. Even after obtaining PR, if you leave Japan for a long period without proper re-entry permit, you risk losing status. Because the idea of having PR is that you should live in Japan and work for Japan. It's not that you get the PR and then you start living in another country. The process is document heavy and immigration authorities often check meticulously. Missing or inadequate documentation can cause delays or rejection. So this is not only for PR. In Japanese culture, the documentation is very heavy everywhere. So be it in normal day-to-day office work or anywhere, there is very high focus on documentation, and that too correct documentation. So you have to ensure that the application form that you are filling up, that should be highly accurate, and also the form will be in Japanese. And many people ask whether we need to know whether they need to know Japanese language or not for applying for PR. So that makes me laugh, friends, because you are applying for PR in Japan, and if you do not know Japanese, then how do you justify your permanent residence there? You do not know Japanese, that means that you are not that much interested in Japan, because if you are interested in Japan, you must love Japanese and learn it. And if you are staying there for 10 years or even 5 years, you should have learned something, right? So you have to learn Japanese and you have to fill the application form in Japanese. Otherwise, your chances of getting the PR will be less. So it's not that you will not get, but your chances will definitely be less. So if you are thinking to get PR, learn Japanese and fill the application form in Japanese. Although you may get some agent to help you fill out the form, that is okay, but try filling up in Japanese by yourself. Having PR is not the same as Japanese citizenship. Some civic political rights remain for Japanese citizens only. What to prepare checklist. This is very important. Your residence card and passport, tax certificates, which includes resident tax and national tax, proof of pension, health insurance enrollment, proof of income or employment, for example, employment certificate, income statements, guarantors documents, identification, residence status of guarantor, statement of reason why you want PR, and for HSFP, proof of points, etc., address registration, proof of residence continuity, and correct translations if documents are in languages other than Japanese. So as you can see here, the what to prepare checklist indicates mostly documentation, and these documentation are not that difficult to get, because if you are a genuine person, if you are living in Japan for the minimum duration that is required for PR application, then you must be having all of these. There is nothing new except for the guarantors documents. The guarantors documents, you have to identify someone, and if you get a Japanese citizen, that is the best thing to do there. Suppose a doctor, Japanese doctor who knows you, so that actually gives much weightage and priority to your application. So guarantor is very, very important. They will assess who is the guarantor and what is the image of that guarantor. So other than that, statement of reason, again, this documentation is important. You have to write. So we will, in a subsequent video, we will discuss how you should write the statement of reason for applying PR. So that is also a very important documentation. And rest everything is something that you already have if you are living in Japan. Next is tips and best practices. Ensure taxes, residence tax, pension, health insurance are up to date and paid without major delays. Small infractions like delayed payments may harm your credibility. So if you are thinking for Japanese PR in future, just ensure that you do not become a defaulter in government payments, taxes, health insurances, credit card payments, and any other things. If you make infractions there, then all those gets noted by the agency, and that may impact your PR application. Maintain a stable residence and employment history in Japan. Don't have extended absences without valid reasons. Use a reliable guarantor. That's what I said just now. Someone who meets the requirements and whose documentation is in order. So try not to get someone from your own nationality, but you should look for a Japanese citizen for guarantorship, which will put high weightage to your application. If going the HSFP route, that is high skilled foreign professional route, know your point score and document that you maintained those points 70 or 80 for the required period. So we will discuss this at length in the very next video of this series. Start gathering documents early. Some bureaucratic processes, for example, tax certificates, pension statements, may take some time. Consider using a specialist if you are not confident about Japanese language documents or complex history. So as I mentioned earlier, you should feel or you should understand what you are filling, and you should have the complete knowledge of Japanese language. But again, you can always take support from a consultant, a Japanese native person who can help you fill out the forms and help you with the documentation. Be realistic. Meeting minimum criteria does not guarantee approval. The immigration authorities exercise discretion and they have the full right to reject your application even if you meet the criteria. So be positive, but at the same time, do not get disheartened if your PR application gets rejected. And finally, some things to watch are the pitfalls. Your continuous residence may be questioned if you had long absences or were working under a short-term visa that doesn't contribute to the eligible residence period. Changing jobs frequently, very low income, or large gaps in tax payments can make approval less likely. So this is your behavior. What they will see apart from your documentation and application form is that how well behaved you have been while you are staying in Japan for the last 3 to 5 years. Your behavior in this sense, did you change jobs frequently? How integ like that shows your integrity with a company. If you are changing frequently, then that means you don't have integrity in your character. Then if the income is very low or if there is too much of variations in the income when you change from one company to the other, or there are large gaps in tax payments, you made delayed payments to government taxes or the credit card payments or the health insurance premiums and all. So those will impact your application. Even with PR, your status can be revoked if you commit serious offenses or stay abroad without re-entry permit. And now, friends, because of all these anti-immigration protests and everything that is going around, as you already know, the criteria will be made stricter now. So if you have committed some offenses which earlier may not be that much serious, but now in the wake of all these protests and all, the agency will be very, very strict in approving the PR application. So now the selection criteria will be much more stricter. So you have to be very careful if you are living in Japan. You should behave very, very nicely and you should be very, very well behaved so that there is nothing against you in your profile that may harm your PR application. If you rely on income from outside Japan, that is overseas dividends, etc., then immigration may scrutinize whether you are really residing in Japan and contributing locally. So that's all we wanted to discuss in this video. So this video is giving you an overall idea of what the Japanese permanent residency program is and what are the fundamental requirements and the fundamental features and considerations that you must undertake and what you will require in the application procedure. In the next video, we shall discuss, as I already mentioned, about the high skilled foreign professional HSFP point-based system using which you can get PR just after 1 year of your stay in Japan. So friends, good luck with your PR application. And if you like this video, then please like, share and subscribe. And we will be back with the next video of this series soon to give you more insight into the Japanese permanent residency program.